If you're here, you know the drill. Just comment. Let me know that you're here. Call the others. Let them know that we're live. I'm excited about tonight's discussion. I hope you are too. I hope I have some teenage mothers on the live. I hope I have women who have had the experience and can relate on the live. So if you're here, just shoot me a comment, send a comment, and let me know that you're here. I see Team Jaycynth is ready. Jaycynth, I have fans, man. So guys, share the video if you're here. Tell a friend that we're going live so that we can get started. Our guests are here and waiting in the lobby. And they're ready to share. So for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Amoy Lawrence, also known as the Anointed Writer. And my platform is really all about transformation and giving persons the safe space to share their testimonies and tell their truths according to their story. So many persons have been through a lot. Denton said, kill me for worship. Many persons have been through a lot. Many persons have been through a lot, and many of them have not really shared their story in a transparent way. So I allow persons to do that on this chat platform to help you or anyone else who may be having the same experiences, can't talk about it, afraid to talk about it, need someone to talk to. That's why we're here. So I see 26 of you guys here. Instagram people, call the Instagram people and tell them that we're live. Yes, Jukal is very ready. So get the numbers to 30. We need 4 more persons so we can start. So we can start. I'm letting the Instagram peeps know that we're live. Hi, Reverend Rob, Prophet Rob. How are you? I just said hi to you. Yes, we're at 29. Come, one more person. I am bold and brave. So, what a jump. 33 persons are here. So, for those who are just joining us, my name is Amoy, aka the Anointed Writer. And this is my space where I allow persons to have transparent conversations, to tell their truths in an effort to empower and encourage others who are going through the same thing and are probably afraid to talk about it or don't feel like they have a safe space to talk about it. Tonight, we're talking about bouncing back from teenage pregnancy. And we have 2 mothers who had their first child at 19. To many of you, that's adults, right? But really, at 19, you're really not ready to face the world. So I'm going to bring them on for them to introduce themselves and share what they have to share with us tonight. So I'm going to bring on Jaycynth first, And by way of an announcement, we have an American on the live. So please behave yourselves in the comments. Okay? Hi, Jason.
Hi, Amoy. Hi, everybody.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Laughing as usual. So let the people know who is Jason.
All right. So, hi, everyone. I'm Jason Campbell. As some of you may know, I am a strong Black woman of God whose determination and purpose is to make it to heaven. You know? I'm 27 years old. I'm a student at the University of the West Indies, final year. Praise God. And I'm looking forward to great things. And thank you so much, Amoy, for inviting me on this platform to share my story.
Amen. So next we
Amen.
have Miss Ciera from the US.
Hey,
Hey.
what's up?
Hey.
They can let the people know who is Ciera.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Amoy, for having me. My name is Ciera Dent. I reside in Pennsylvania, and I have four wonderful children. I know, right? Four. Listen, I didn't stop at 19. I have four of them. So, yeah, I am in Pennsylvania, and I also have a talk show called Tea with C. So we are going to have some fun. I'm very excited to have this conversation tonight.
Amen. So guys,
Amen.
remember to share the video. Hi Rochelle, I see that you're here. You wanna leave Rochelle by herself over YouTube? That's not nice. So, on the topic of teenage pregnancy, first let us just take a moment to set the atmosphere and invite the Holy Spirit to be in this conversation with us. As I was telling you guys earlier, where's Jessie?
She done hopped off.
As I was telling you guys earlier that the Lord really woke me up with this topic. I think it was last week Friday or early this week, I don't remember. And immediately he showed me who he wanted to be on. And so I believe that this conversation is necessary and timely. I don't know who needs some encouragement. I don't know who is down, but please share this video, guys. So if the person is not here, it can get to them. Jaycynth, I'm not seeing your camera. So it can get to them. Juka says walk. Jaycynth, you may have to restart and come back in or something so that we can see a camera. But let us pray quickly. Lord, I thank you for tonight. I thank you for this platform. I thank you for this moment. I thank you for this atmosphere. I thank you that you would have instructed and led such a topic to be discussed tonight. I pray that the person who is in need or the persons who are in need will have access to this tonight. Even if not tonight, they will watch the playback and you will accomplish what it is that you want to have accomplished. Lord, I thank you that you are able to direct your people in such a way, in such unconventional ways, to get the results that you so desire. We thank you again. We ask you to just lead this discussion. As usual, you know, it is a flow with you, the Holy Spirit. We ask that you lead, we ask that you guide, and just help us, help you to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish tonight. We thank you. We thank you for the guests for taking their time out. We thank you for the viewers who are here. And we just want to have a good time with you tonight. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
So Jaycynth is back.
Is she back? Okay.
With light.
Woo! I'm using my phone because the laptop, I don't know what's happening.
So I guess you're on the phone, right?
I am.
So we want to get into a little bit of your story. You can share as you are led, and I'm not sure if there are any sensitive areas or anything that you're not comfortable sharing, but help us to understand your journey as a teenage mother, when it started, what was the climate in your life, how were things at that time, and how did it affect you in that moment. So we can start with, I'll start with Ciera because I feel like Jaycynth's story have some hills and valleys.
Oh,
I will definitely start. So, teen pregnancy for me, I had just graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my freshman year at college, and I was actually going to school to become a doctor. My dream was to become a pediatrician. So
Mm-hmm.
went to school. I went to a HBCU. I was at Cheney University, which is a school here in Pennsylvania. And in my first year, I think I just had too much fun. Like I was majoring in biology, and I passed in some way, some form, because by the end of that year, I ended up pregnant. So I passed. So yeah, it was definitely at 19, I don't think I realized how much it would change my life. I don't think I realized the severity and the significance of what that was on having a child at 19 years old. To me, it was just like, all right, I'm gonna have a baby, and I'm gonna, keep living life and doing what I've been doing, and it literally shook everything up. To this day, my life is still totally different from having a child at 19. So yeah, it definitely changes everything. It gives you a different perspective on life. It gives you a new set of patience that you never had, and it makes you grow up really really fast. At 19, I had to stop thinking about me, and I had to start thinking about my son at the time and make sure that I was doing the best for him and making sure that I was leading an example, the life that I wanted him to live, even at a young age. And I had to step up to the plate. I think it calls you to definitely step up to the plate.
So were you a Christian at the time? Were you in church?
I actually grew up in church. So I went to church when I was a kid, probably at least 3, 4 days out the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was in church all the time. I
oh,
was in Bible study. We had Sunday school. We had morning service. We had afternoon service. And don't talk about a guest speaker, because then you had another evening service. So I was in church all the time. Summer vocation Bible school and all that. I was always in church. So when I got to the age where I was able to decide if I wanted to continue to go to church or not, I said, I am out of here. I said, I'm out of here. And I I made that decision early on when I was a teenager, probably around 13, 14. I
Mm-hmm.
decided that I was no longer going back, that I was not going to church anymore. I had enough of it. So I actually strayed away through my teenage years. And I really didn't start going back to church until I was about maybe 24, 25, even it could have even been like 26, 27. I stayed away for a while.
Jason,
hi everyone again. So for me now, could you just reiterate?
so just share your testimony. Give
Oh,
us a
just share
give
my
us a give us a an understanding of the story of the journey.
Okay, so hi again everyone. So I'm Jason Campbell for those who are just joining. All right, so when I found out that I was pregnant, I was in lower six. So I was preparing for CAPE. Um, I would always sleep in class, guys. I would always be sleeping in class, but I just couldn't understand, and I was losing a lot of weight. So, I visited my doctor, and they were saying that it's acid reflux because I just kept losing the weight. No, I was like 2 months in the pregnancy, and I did not know. So one day, my mommy said, "Let's go to the hospital," because they said I'm supposed to do an ultrasound, just to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And mommy was saying, "You know what? Wear your uniform, because you'll get through. It's a good thing I never wore my uniform." And mommy was saying, "Wear your uniform, get through early." Anyways, went in, did the ultrasound, and the doctor, she looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, congratulations! There's the heartbeat." And to be honest, guys, because we're here being honest and open, my first question to her was, "How do I get rid of this?" This was exactly my facial expression. I'm like, "How do I get rid of this?" And she's like, "I'm sorry, we don't support that in Jamaica." No, I went on the outside and mommy's like, "What's happening?" I told her. And I'm like, "Mommy, you're going to hate me. You're going to hate me." And she's like, "Jaycynth, nothing can make me hate you. What is it? You're pregnant?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she started to cry and all of that. Went home, told my sister. We sat on the floor. She cried with me. And we spoke about it. By the Sunday, we had a family meeting. Told my father. No, my father is the type to say, my girl picnic them can't come in my house, Oh, them have no picnic. Can't come in my house. So when we brought the news to daddy said, "Well, so the system set disappointed, but we love you. I would here for support you." And I'm telling you, that did a great deal for me because my family, they were very supportive. At that time, my dad wasn't a pastor as yet, but we started attending this church, and I wasn't famous, but a lot of persons know about me. So I had to come off Facebook because we find that thing to be very embarrassing. And so I came off Facebook, all the social media platforms I can think of. I came off all of them because I was really embarrassed. I felt like, I betrayed my family. I felt like I betrayed God. I felt like I betrayed the church people. And then, of course, you know how church people are. Them literally backbench you. They literally get cold towards you. It's like hell all over again. So that's basically my story, in a very small nutshell, because as Sister Amoy said, it's a great story.
So as you mentioned, the embarrassment bit of it for both
Mm-hmm.
of you. Ciera, was that the case for you too? That feeling of feeling embarrassment or that you did something wrong? Ciera, Ciera has 4 kids, guys. Please bear with her.
Yes, this one. See, I told you, my
Yeah.
light skin one. But he wants to get in the camera. But yeah, definitely. I was very ashamed because I felt as though my parents expected more from me. And I was that golden child. I was the one that they expected the most out of. My brother, he could get away with murder, but if I killed the fly, it was like, "Oh, Sierra, how dare you?"
Mm-hmm.
So when I told my father that I was pregnant, he was like, no, this ain't happening. You're not keeping it. And I was like strong headed. No, this is my baby. I'm keeping my baby. And he was like, "You can't tell me what to do. I don't care how old you are. You ain't keeping it." He was mad. He was upset, which I get now. And eventually he got over it. But at first it was very embarrassing to not only um have to explain. I think the explanation of it all, because everybody wants to know, how did this happen, especially when you're in college. They're like, how did you get pregnant in college? What were you like? What were you doing? It's like, I was what I was doing. What I wasn't doing is question. And it's like, you almost have to um pick yourself back up, because people will criticize you in so many different ways. And it caused me to have a thicker skin, because why you want to cry? Say hi to the people. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
There you go. But it made me have thicker skin, because I had to not only look at myself in the mirror and say, "Okay, Sierra, you still have to take responsibility for it, but the embarrassment isn't yours. And if people are going to look at you differently, or if people are going to treat you differently, then that's their problem." And I had to really just toughen up and walk it out. And my parents, after a while, they became very supportive. and they would shut down any negativity, any talk that was ill in regards to me and my son. My dad was very strong willed, and he would shut it straight down. But the embarrassment is a huge part when it comes to teenage pregnancy, because it's like, it's not supposed to happen, but when it does happen, there's not too many resources, nor are there a lot of conversations
Right.
to have to even make the mom feel like, okay, you made this mistake, but this isn't the end of your life. Because most of the time you're told and you're taught, once you have kids, your life is over. Like, it's a wrap. Like, it's not about you no more. It's about your kids, and you might as well kiss your dreams goodbye. And that narrative makes it so hard, because when you find yourself in this type of situation, it's like, now I have to kiss everything goodbye. I have to let everything go, and the embarrassment is really tough on that.
So for somebody, for someone who may have just found out that they're pregnant or are just going through those initial emotions of embarrassment or regret,
Hmm.
how can you encourage them in this time?
You want me to answer that one?
Yeah, both of you.
I would say, when I got pregnant with, I want to say really with all of my children, I found myself in a place of shame and embarrassment, because I was not married. All of my children were created out of wedlock, so that comes with the whole, shame and embarrassment and all those things, condemnation and all of that. So I really had to be able to lean on my supportive team and the people around me and those who love me, for them to be able to encourage me in that time, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it by myself, and it's hard to pull yourself out of a hole, and it's hard to pull yourself out of a deep place or a dark place when you're the one that's feeding yourself all these negative comments. Most of the time, it's not the people around you. It's usually what you think about yourself. And since you've been taught, that this is wrong, don't do it, and if it happens, people will look at you funny. You really beat yourself up more than the people around you. And I think that if you find yourself in a situation where where you're pregnant and it's unplanned or it's out of wedlock, you have to really get yourself around people who are able to support you, who's able to speak life into you, and who's able to stand up for you, because in that moment it's kind of hard to stand up when you're in a hole.
Jane?
Um, in terms of the embarrassment, I was really embarrassed because it was like a couple months before I went to church and the bishop called me and the young man, to the altar, and he prophesied. He said, if you don't stop right now, you're going to get pregnant. And he said, set your house in order. And we laughed so hard. We were like, oh yes. He said, the bed never straight when they leave me out. I said, you see, when you go home, straight in the bed. We were joking it out. And then a couple months down the line, to see that, oh, set your house in order means, yo, you need to stop this fornication thing. And bam, I was pregnant. I was really embarrassed. And I'm like, look how God said the word. And I still went ahead and had my phone, did my own thing. And this is where I'm at now. And what kind of, took down my embarrassment a bit, just a little bit, was the fact that I had family support. Let me tell you something. Your friends will support you, and that's very good, because I had three friends who supported me to the T. Anya, Karian, and Camille. They supported me to the T. But you see, my family, let me tell you something about my family. They protected me. They prayed for me. They said, hey, Jason, guess what? You're brilliant. You applied for university. This is not the end all and be all. They said, hey, you're bright. When all of this is over, go to university and just do your best, because you're a brilliant girl. This is just a setback, but don't let it deter you. And I'm telling you, through and through, to be honest, my neighbors didn't even know that I was pregnant until my daughter was born. Let me tell you something. You think JDF body it? I'm bodyguarding. You see my family now. We're going to church. I will walk into that car, one at the front, two at the front, two at the back, and I'm in the middle. And we're walking to that car. Let me tell you something. They prayed with me. Anything I wanted, that's my family. I'm telling you, I was just I don't know, but for anybody out there right now, if you're feeling pregnant, this is not the end of the road. Let me tell you something. Don't follow what they've been saying. Those cliched sayings about, this is the end of the world and this is you can't go any further. That is a lie. Right? That is a lie from the pit of hell. Let me tell you something. This is just a phase. All you have to do, yes, you're going to be embarrassed. But if you don't have the family support like I did, if you don't have the friends to support you, just encourage yourself. It's easier said than done because I cried for many nights because of him. I cried, I'm telling you, cried myself to sleep many times because I'm like, oh my God, looking at my friends, they're going into upper six and they're
Mm.
graduating, and I'm just here sitting down with my hand, on my face, like, wow, what did I do to myself? Moments of regret. And so I'm going to tell you, just be comforted. Tell yourself that, hey, I'm going to love this child and I'm going to move forward with my life. And I'm going to make myself proud. I'm going to make my child proud because, I mean, it's already here. You cannot do anything about it, right? Only thing you can do is move forward and have a positive mindset. So that's all, that's the encouragement. And remember, it's a journey. And every journey, you just enjoy the step in your journey.
Amen. So walk us through those 9 months, and I mean physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. What was the journey like? What were some of the things that you learned about yourself on the way? What were some of the things that you had to change or shake up because you knew that you were now responsible for a child coming into the world? Let us know what that experience was like. And Jay, you can go first because I thought Ciera wasn't ready. But Jay, you can go first.
All right. For me, in terms of physically, um, it wasn't really rough, to be honest. I was very pretty. I must say, this is not a narcissist moment, but I'm just saying, I was very pretty and I was comforted by it. And by that one little fact.
And your
Um,
body neat, so the belly just
oh,
neat, don't it?
sorry, so safe. Oh, you mean? Yeah. And cause when I was 5 months, I'm telling
Remember,
you,
we have to hold it for the American.
oh, I'm so sorry. Let me just get back to the English. So as I was saying, my body was neat. You know,
Yes.
I was looking well. Yeah, man. I didn't start showing until about 7 months. You know, um, I had a vomiting within that little period. As I told you that I didn't know what was happening. Once I'm brushing my teeth, I would throw up. But that
Mm.
was the only time I didn't really have any morning sickness or anything. So physically, I was well. Physically, I was okay because I was going to church. The church accepted me. I was just worshiping God and I felt good. Even though I had my moments. So going
Mm.
on to the mental part now, I had my moments when, I just trip out like, Jesus Christ, what is this? What is this that
Start
I'm getting
worry.
into? I start to worry. I'm like, am I going to be a good mother? Because there's no, there. All right, let me keep it in the English. No amount of books they can write can tell you how to raise a child. Amen. So I wasn't in the whole reading any book or anything like that. I was just like, all right, let me just think about my mother. I'll just ask her, advice along the way, so I can know what to do. So sometimes I would be at home, I would be crying. I call my mom. I was just I was just always crying. It was just so much. I'm
And then
telling
the
you, it was,
hormones not
yeah.
help.
And then the hormones and all of that. So, but and I had my moments when I wanted to lose the baby. We're being honest now, right? I had moments when I'm like, if we can just have a miscarriage, I'd be so good.
Mm.
I just want a miscarriage. I remember like sometimes I'd be laying down, I lay on my belly because I'm like, oh well. Yeah, because the moments of regret coming through your mind and your thoughts, all of that stuff. So I had those moments, and there were moments when I would argue with the father about the name, and I would get upset. I'm gonna say, me kill a pitney, hey, you know, or let's say I'd kill this child. You don't know me. Let me tell you something. If I choose a name, so I had those moments. I'm telling you, I was angry sometimes, I was bitter sometimes. I just felt so hurt, disappointed in myself. Let me tell you, it was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster when it comes on to, you know, the mind and the heart. I tell you, it was a roller coaster, but I'm here. I got through it.
Yeah. Jay, Ciera.
My 9 months was, I think I was so oblivious to the fact that I was pregnant, really, because I was still, to, I still felt pretty normal for the most part. I had my moments where I was scared, where I was fearful because at I was really going through it all by myself. It was just me and my family, because when I found out I was pregnant, I told, the guy that I was dating, I told him, hey, I'm pregnant. He was like, oh Lord, my parents are going to kill me, because of course we're both 19 in college. We're supposed to be learning. So he was terrified and he dropped off the face of the earth. And so here I am, 19, by myself, just doing it all by myself with my parents and, my family. And they made me very comfortable. For the most part, my dad made sure that I ate, and my mom went to all my appointments with me. They still made it as special as they could, but there was always those moments where it was like, I'm not supposed to be going through this by myself. This was not my plan. I'm supposed to be in college. I'm supposed to be finishing up school. I wasn't planning on having any kids no time soon. My whole 5-year plan just went out the window, because of course I wanted to get married and then have kids. You have this whole dream and this whole goal, and when something doesn't go the way that you planned it, it almost just wrecks everything. So I had those moments mentally as well where it was like, why did I put myself through this? Did I really make the right decision? Should I have, gotten rid of it when my dad told me to? And it was moments where, especially towards the end, like the beginning, I was really small. I've always been a really small person. So towards the beginning, you really couldn't tell that I was pregnant until I was about like 7 months as well. I could get away with it. I really,
Skinny privileges.
listen, I had nobody at all. I was little. The only way you could tell I was pregnant is when I turned to the side and you saw my stomach. But other than that, you really couldn't tell. But towards the end of the pregnancy, that's when it started to get that's when it started to get really, really scary for me, because I'm like, you can die giving birth, There's people die giving birth. I have to literally really push this baby out. Like, this is crazy. Like, what in the world have I got myself into? And I had to really, up until, I think I stayed in that mindset at least until my son was about maybe 6, 7 months, because when I had him, I totally freaked out. The first night I had my son, I freaked out, and I called my friend, and it was like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot. This baby is over here looking at me. I don't know when to feed him. I don't know what he wants. I'm in here all by myself. You can barely move afterwards. It was crazy. So it was a lot. It takes a toll on you.
So how I heard you mention that the father kind of disappeared off the face of the earth.
Disappear, honey. He did a whole
How
magic.
how has that been for you? How was that for you to have to go through that alone, in the sense of the person who you were supposed to be in the situation with together just up and left?
That was hard, especially like I said, towards the end, when it started to become more realistic to me, and I was at the point where, like, this baby is really coming. That was really hard. I was in a state of depression, because it was like, I'm not supposed to be doing this by myself. Like, it's supposed to be me, my husband, and we're supposed to be happy, we're supposed to be excited, and here I am by myself, can't contact the guy because I have no clue where he went. Like, literally, he fell off the face of the earth. And I didn't get in contact with him until after my son was born. So it was like just literally being by yourself, and knowing that you have no other choice but to do it. You have no other choice, especially when you find yourself, in your third trimester. You don't got no choice. You got no other choice but to push that baby out and, and figure this thing out on your own, because these are the decisions that that you've made, and these are the actions that you have taken.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you have to kind of pull up your big girl panties and keep it moving, because that's the only way to get through it.
Oh, and Amoy,
Mhm.
for the that part that she said, in terms of coming down to birth, giving birth, um, just quickly, it was terrifying for me because when you look a certain age, you look like you're young, you don't have on a ring, you don't look like you're married, they treat you very poorly,
Yeah,
and
I hear that. I hear that a lot.
trust me, girl, I went through it. I was sitting at the floor at one time, and the lady was like, "We are make nice for get up, man." Just like that, and I was in pain, contractions and all that. And I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. So when I finally gave birth, Abigail went on fasting for like a day and a half because I didn't even know that I was supposed to feed her. Like I didn't know that they're supposed, like, you can just put your breast at the mouth and you
Yeah.
suck. I did not know. And like a lady across from me, she was really concerned. So when my mom and my sister and my brother came to look for me the evening, she called over my mommy and she was like, she said what she said, and mommy came back and mommy was like, when since you feed the baby? I'm like, I feed her from she born. Because I did not know. I was just there. I was just staring at her because, I never know, say it's just natural. Like, I don't know what was going on in my head, but I think probably at that time, like just the stress of everything, just a bag of confusion, wind of confusion just came and just flooded my mind. But it can be very hard. So I would advise persons to, as much as it's a difficult time, get all the education you need in terms
Yeah.
of, what to do. Even if you don't have any, as I said before, supportive friends or families, ask your doctor because we do regular checkups. Because when my mommy would go with me to do my appointments, yeah, we would ask and tell. But that part about the breastfeeding, I did not remember to ask. But yes, so that's why Abigail is a prayer warrior. Bless God, fasting.
So in terms of your father situation, the child's father, how was that? Was it a
Me.
case where he was absent, or was he there? What's the story there, and how did you deal with it?
So when she laughing. All right. So when hey, the day when we were at the hospital, my mother was mad. Mother said, "Call him, call him." He came quickly. God is good. So he came and he was like, "Whatever your decision is, I'm here with you and all of that stuff." And I'm like, "All right, no problem. Yeah, my decision is to get rid of it." He's like, "Well, if that's your decision, fine." But as I said before, throughout at the first part of the pregnancy, he would text me and he was like, "You're all right, you're good," and so forth. But it did take me because it was a it was a season, and I broke up the relationship. Yeah, just like that. I was like 4 months pregnant. I broke up the relationship. He would still text me, to find out what was happening and stuff like that. But in terms of certain little things. Like I think his parents wanted me to like move in or something like that, and my parents would never have it because they're like, "Oh no, period. This ain't gonna happen." So things just kind of went, downhill ish. And to be honest, I think one time after she was born, because we had a lot of arguments throughout the pregnancy in terms of what I'm gonna call her and all kind of stuff like that. So it was really stressing where he was concerned. I just really, kind of forgot about it. So after she was born, now she was like about a month. My dad took me and Abby to visit his family, so they could meet her and whatever, whatever. And I realized that you know, his people, they had her, and like the neighbors who were passing, who for baby dad large, sweetie?
So nobody knew.
Yeah. So a prize bowl. So it's like basically they didn't want anybody to know that he has a child, right? So I felt really upset. I felt really hurt about it because I'm like, because I realized in every nature across every country across the world, the female is left with the brunt of the pregnancy. So whether it's a church girl she on the choir and the guy play the music, best believe she have to come off of the choir, but best believe him still a play the keyboard. And it's a
Listen,
very unfair thing.
And it's
I
and
had to
it's the
call
same
school.
too with school too. Like
That
the
was what I
girl
was
is
just going
forced
to
to leave
say.
school
I
and
had
the
to call.
guy.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he was still going to school, finish and all that kind of stuff. And initially things were really rough, in terms of the support and all of that. So I really just kind of forgot about that. So, but now things are much better because you know I decided that hey, I don't want her to grow up in this bitterness where oh your mother ate your father can't stand your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Let us just be civilized young people because we're brilliant and we have sense. We're not foolish. So let us just work together for the good of the child. And that's what we did. And no, the relationship is much better in terms of communication. Whenever she needs anything or whatever, it's not as difficult as before. Where keep on, hi, remember this. Because in my head, I'm like, I don't need to remind you because you have a child. So why do I keep on have to remind you? But as I said, no, things are much better, and I'm not bitter. I'm better. Let's start.
And that is important.
Very
That is
important.
important because a lot of women they raise the child with the same bitterness that they have against the father, and now the child grows up hating the father, not sure
Yep.
of their importance or their relationship, and
So,
it's just one big toxic mess.
yep.
So two questions I have that stem from your response just now is one, how can persons heal from that bitterness? And two, what would you say to young women who are considering getting married solely for the purpose that they got pregnant by this person? So Sarah, you can go.
I'll definitely go on that. I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna go backwards. So
Mm-hmm.
with my last child, my 1 year old actually, that was almost a situation with me and his father where we were we would have gotten married because I got pregnant. And to me it sounded logical, but I knew it wasn't right and I knew he was not the one. I knew that that's not who God had sent because we had broke up prior to me finding out I was pregnant with my son. So for me to go forward and marry him just because we have a child, I knew that it would put me in a situation that wouldn't be good. I probably would be miserable. I would regret it. I wouldn't, I wouldn't be happy, and it wouldn't work out for him neither because we just weren't compatible. We were not meant to be together. And our child was just, a byproduct of some of the decisions that we've made. And you have to be okay with knowing that sometimes the child's father isn't always necessarily going to be your husband, and you can't force that neither because a lot of people force it. And they say, well, especially when you're in a church, if you're in a church, they say, oh well, you can't walk around pregnant and you ain't married, y'all gonna have to get married, y'all gonna have to do something. And they force people into getting into relationships, and then they end up getting divorced years later because they were never really in a relationship. It was more so lust than it was love. So we come into
Amen.
a whole right. We come into a whole another situation where now we're trying to make something more than what it was originally. Because if we all, tell the truth, and if some of us are honest, there are times where we've had children out of situations, and it was not because we loved the person. It was because we were feeling them. They were cute, they look
Mm-hmm.
good, they smell good, they had a good game, they talked the right game, and it wasn't always necessarily the fact that they proved themselves to be person that you want to marry. It was just that you fell for what they were portraying, and that can get you in a bad situation, especially when kids are involved. But you have to also remember that you have to put yourself and a good space to be able to be that mom or that father that the kids need. Because if you find yourself in a relationship that's going to be miserable to you, your kids are going to be miserable. Everybody's going to be miserable. They're going to pick up on it. They're going to think that they're supposed to do it when they get older. It sets a bad example. So that would be my answer to that question. And in regards to bitterness, it's a very tricky that's a very tricky situation, just for the sense of your emotions are involved. And when you have your emotions involved, you have a child involved, you have an absent parent or a parent that isn't doing their part, it makes it real hard not to become bitter. And we can throw scriptures out all day, we can quote the Bible all day, but that doesn't help when your heart hurts. It doesn't help when your heart is broken. It doesn't help when you are trying to scrape up money to buy diapers, to get formula. Kids need clothes, when you need to take care of bills. None of it doesn't always put you in the right space, and you really have to be willing to look at yourself and say, okay, is this person really worth my energy? Like, that's what it boils down to. Is this person worth me being so bitter with them that it's going to take from my life? Because that's what bitterness does. Bitterness will kill you. Bitterness will literally have you walking around like the Walking Dead, because you have such an unforgiveness in your heart for a person and they don't care. They're living their lives, they're doing everything they want to do, and you stand here mad, like big mad. Like, for all that, you could be putting your energy into healing, making sure you and your child is okay, bettering yourself, starting a business, journaling, going to counseling, whatever that may be. But you can find a different way to make yourself better instead of making yourself bitter.
Amen. Jay?
Yes, let me start with the bitterness first, because that has been a strong point in my life. Bitterness. Them always say me I'm a bitter like Cersei. And sweetie, Sister Sarah, Cersei is something that we drink in Jamaica. It's a very bitter tea, right? So they used to say me bitter like young Cersei, because it was like a tree growing. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
tree growing, and I watered that tree of bitterness every single day. And then what stood out for me one time that kind of started to turn things around on my part. I remember I sat there and I said, because honestly, that bitterness, it seeped over into my reactions to my daughter,
Mm.
because it's almost like probably people would think I hate her because I was so bitter towards her dad. It's like if I look at her and she look like him, me not have nothing to kiss my teeth for, You understand? So the bitterness was there, and one day I sat there and I said, "No, man, this cannot work, because this bitterness is gonna cause her also to be bitter and confused." And I'm saying, why not just better myself so I can be a better mom, so my child can be a better, child,
And you can have a
and
better
can
relationship.
have a better relationship. And then no, another thing that encouraged me was, as I said, my family cannot get enough of them. I swear to God, they encouraged me. Them suggesting, let it go. You have us. We are here. We're supporting you physically, spiritually, financially. Let me tell you something. When they say financially, my family support me financially. And so it's like I started to let go. So if I don't see anything coming, it's like, you know, first time I would Christ, I know me can't see nothing and whatever. And that is how gradually I just started to let it go, let it go, let it go. And as you said, not all the time scriptures will work, because it never worked for me. For them quote 1,000,001 scriptures, and I'll be like, oh yeah. Then pray, and I'm like, you're right. Because I'm like,
Because at the end of the day, you have to the scripture can only do so
in
much,
the
and the prayer can only do so much.
so much exactly, but you need to actually start putting certain things into action right? To get the better reaction, right? And so that was what I did. So with the family support and everything, I eventually, because you had a little, one and two persons who would add fuel to the fire. If me say something,
Mm.
court, several seats, right? That even makes situation worse. Yeah. So that was what got me over. And for those who don't have the support system, just think about yourself and think about the child. Where do I want to reach in the next 5 years? Do I want to make myself proud? Do I want to make God proud? Do I want to make my child proud? That's it. Because as my dear sister said, when you live in bitterness, there's no way that you can prosper because you wither, you get ugly. It it,
Mm-hmm.
it affects your heart. My heart used to hurt me, My heart used to hurt me. I think me did need pacemaker. My heart used to hurt me. Yeah, palpitations and everything. And that is because I was and that's because I was bitter. I was I was that's because I was bitter. But nothing was wrong with me, just the bitterness, right? And so now, so yeah, so if you don't have the support system, just think about yourself and how you want to move on in your life. Yeah, when you let go bitterness, you're so beautiful, you're so fresh, you glow. Best believe me, you glow and you take care of your child even better. Now, in terms of the marriage part, mm-mm. Sis, let me tell you something about that. Because it's a case, especially in the churches, they want you to, yeah, man, you guys need to get married because you have a child together. And as you said, further down the line, divorce. Or we're living unhappily because I can't stand the man, the man can't stand me, but we have to put on a front. But we are live like puss and dog live loving nowadays. But we live in like, yeah, I don't know what to say. But you're living badly, right? It's not a good thing because it's like in the moment it's just the flesh. You're pleasing the flesh in the moment, and then the child came forth, right? And so it's best if you continue to seek God in terms of that arena. Seek God and say, Lord, is this your will for my life? You're already gone as far as have a child. Just say, God, help me to take care of this child. Because marriage is not, let me tell you, you have some persons who get married, after having a child with a person, and it does work because you have
That was
persons
just
who
about to say.
genuinely, yeah, you have persons who genuinely loved each other throughout the relationship, and yes, them have a little slip up, enjoy themselves, and then yeah, bam, and them married and them happy and them all right. But if it's a case where yeah, it was just a one-off because yeah, the person look good, and sometimes the person not even look good too. Them just intelligent, and intelligence kind of make we look good sometimes, right? And then in that moment of lust, in that moment of wanting to please the flesh, you just go ahead and do a thing. But it's not something that I would encourage, especially if you're not feeling the person in that way. It's not something I would encourage. So because of pregnancy, you run ahead and get married to the person. Period.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready would you say were you to be a mother?
This 0. Let me tell you something. The negative one. Let me tell you something. 0. I was not ready. Not ready.
And that leads into another question that I have. What were some of the qualities you gained from the experience of being a mother?
Come on,
So,
Holy
how
Ghost.
ready were you at the start? And what were some of the qualities that you obtained along the way?
Hmm. Look, who wants to go first?
I'm gonna let you go, Jay. You was
Oh.
rolling.
All right, for me, at first, Mr. I'm still kind of impatient, but But you see, children, test your patience. Let me tell you something. Patience is one of the, all right, a mother's patience is different from, I think kind of different from trying to have patience with probably a spouse. I don't know. but it gives you patience in certain things because your children, they can be disobedient, they can be one thing before the patient. I learned to love. Let me tell you something. If you ask me what love was before, Abby, I probably tell you the Bible. What do you know the Bible? The Bible definition are wrong, you know. But me just tell you the Bible definition because I know it. Love is
But you
patient,
not
love is
live it.
kind. But you not live it. I a bit and stay bad. But when it, when Abby came into my life, I learned how to
Yeah,
love.
we
I
say
learned how to
you have
love
a character and we can't manage.
a whole mood. I learned how to love. A bit more patient. I was kind, you know, I was gentle, even though sometimes I'm already rough, I can't, but I may get annoyed. And that's fine because it's a part of life, right? But those little things, you know, I became a little softer, very mature
Mm-hmm.
because it forces you to become mature because now you're in charge of someone's life. Huh? That's a big thing, you know. You're in charge of someone's life. So yes, patience, love. I learned to be a little more gentle, a little kinder. You have to think on your feet. You have to think on your feet, especially when the money maga and want pop. You know, you have to learn how to conserve, girls. You have to learn how to conserve. You have to learn how to save. You have to learn how to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to do your nails, girl, you better go with them. Get that nail clip and clip your down your nail every 2 weeks. You cannot go to the nail tech. I see you smiling, Sister Amoy. Your nails looking lovely over there. I'm telling you, you want the pedicure, and you gotta wear shoes for the
You
rest
see,
of the month
that
because them
is
pedicure
why
don't work.
that is why I'm walking very carefully.
Listen to me, sis. Because you have to go wear sneakers and closed toe shoes for a couple months because you can't afford the pedicure because you have to learn to sacrifice. You want to go out with your friends and you have to say, guys, take pictures. Because here what? Me, the money what me have right now, and then for me not take no loan for go school. Me not take student loan. So I was working and I was a full-time employee. I was a full-time mommy and I was going to university part-time. Right?
Plus church.
Plus girl plus church. So plus you know the little singing things here and there. So you know how that go, right? And so I had to learn to sacrifice. I had to learn to save, and so all of those little things that you took lightly before, trust me, you have to brush them up, get little gel and fix them in. Yes,
It's like a fast track into adulthood.
yes, man. Just them says 0 to 1,000 real 0 to 1,000, just like that. Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
it for me.
See?
I agree. I'm with my son. I learned patience because
Mhm.
I was not a person of patience. I wanted things my way, when I wanted it, how I wanted it, where. That was me. I did not have patience whatsoever, and having children will really challenge your patience because you don't have no choice. Like you
True.
really just don't have no choice but to be patient. Um, and like she said, love, like it teaches you to love on a level that you've never experienced before. The love between a mother and their child is something that for me is still indescribable because they're so unconditional. And even now when I find myself in a situation where someone hurt me or someone did me wrong, whatever the case is, I have to to remind myself, and I have to pray, God, teach me to love like a child, because their love is just so unconditional. Like you can discipline them, you can yell at them, you can enforce rules, and they'll be okay. They'll still love you. They'll love you the next day. You can spank them, and then they'll come give you a hug. It's like, I just spanked
Just
you now.
like that.
I just gave you a spanking, and now you're giving me a hug. But they're so unconditional. Their love is so unconditional, and it will mature you in a way where you will want to show them the same love that they're giving you. And it will definitely challenge you, because it's going to show you where you lack in love, where you lack
Yeah.
in care, where you lack in empathy and understanding. It's going to show you how much patience you really have. um,
True.
it's going to show you how you can really save money. Like she said, it's going to show you how your saving really is. How's your budgeting? How good are you with time management? Are you able to manage a lot of things at one time? Can you multitask? Can you cook dinner and wash the clothes? Can you make your way to work and still trying to figure out a to-do list? Like, now I'm multitasking now with these
Oh
crazy little
yeah.
people in the background. But that's what you learn how to do. You have to
True.
learn how to multitask when it comes to children. And I've learned that the older I got, and the more children I've had, and the older I was able to handle it better than what I handled it at 19. Because with my son, I would literally, there was times where I was just like, look, you just going to my mom and pop's house, and I'm going out. I need time. I need a break. But when you mature and you get older, you realize you have to raise your kids. Like, you have to raise your kids. Your support system is there. Your village is there. But at the end of the day,
True.
you have to be the one to raise them. And it's going to take a sacrifice, and it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of strength. And that's another thing that I've learned is strength and resilience, being able to bounce back, being able to
Yes.
get back up when you fall on your face, because you will fall.
Yes. True.
And it will hurt, but you have to be able
Mm-hmm.
to get back up. And it
True.
teaches your kids to know that, mommy's a fighter. Mommy's never going to give up, and she's not going to give up on me neither. So
True.
it just works so well. But there's so many attributes that come from it, and I'm the person who I am now because of my children, definitely.
Nice.
Amen. So we are past the 1 hour mark. So if you have been on this live before, you know that we are taking questions from you guys who are watching. We have one question already from Jodian, and she's asking, "How are your experiences with dating now that you have kids?"
I said, oh.
Yeah, girl. Jodian, bless you. How are your experiences with dating now that you have kids? To be honest, God is good. I'm telling you. The God will bless you. For me, all right. So initially, you'll be a little. The first thing I would tell somebody when they try to pursue me, oh, I have a child, because in my head, that's a scary thing, so they'll just back off. But it's something that I don't, because you see, for some people who have children and they try to date, you have to be careful. You don't want to confuse your child. You don't want to get them to be meeting Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's a spirit of confusion.
I end up with
And
20 uncle.
end up with 20 uncle. You don't want that. For me now, though, I am single. Um, because I think it is time. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, it takes up your time. The time when you should be spending with God, the time you should be spending with your child. So you have to be very careful. Not saying you mustn't have time for the person, especially if you're seeking God. Is this the right person? Is this the right thing for me? You have to be very careful. Um, and you can't allow the child to probably meet the person. Like, you have to make them meet the person when you're sure, when you're sure, and have your separate time for, your dating, your little date night, and then have your separate time for your child. It's very important. Children are also inquisitive. So you have to know to be honest with them. So if they see some, who that mommy? Who is that mommy? You have to be very honest with your child. You have to be very honest and let them know that, mommy is dating. And, when you're dating, you're getting to know someone, you know, you're asking God if he's the right person for you to get married to and all of that stuff. But as I said, you have to be very careful though, because especially for your child, you don't want your child to get comfortable with this person and then poof, whoosh, we're out of here like Auntie Colleen show on Love 101. You don't want that. So
No free promo. I'm sending a bill for that ad.
yeah, you have to be very careful. You have to be. That's what I would say. You have to be. I don't know if I'm making sense because for me it was a little tricky until I backed off because I realized um that things were getting out of hand. So as I said, I'm single now. I've backed off, and it's all about God, my education, and my daughter. So, Madam C, what would you have to say?
Yeah. It's dating with kids. You have to be very careful. You have to. The experiences that I've had were especially when I was younger. So when I was 19 and I had my first child, I would say that I wasn't as careful as I am now. I was a little bit more I guess I was more so immature at that point in time because I wasn't really um, thinking about the fact of, having different people around your kids, making sure that they're in a safe place, making sure that, they're comfortable, that, your house isn't a revolving door where people are just coming and going. They're asking, every couple of weeks that, um, you're introducing them to another person. So you have to definitely be careful. Make sure that they like kids. And like you said, my son, he is a yeller, y'all. Like he don't talk, he just yells. It's crazy. But you definitely have to make sure that they're good with kids. Ask them if they have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have experience with kids? Come here, Justice. Do they have experience with kids? Do they want kids? Because all those questions are going to lead you to even let you know if they're even worth your time. And that's
True.
one thing that I've learned is my time is very valuable. As a single mom, my time is valuable. I don't have time to be wasted on a man that's not going to stick around or someone that just wants to play and waste my time and what you
Amen.
doing me all day. Like I don't want you in my inbox all day. I don't, you're not going to talk me to
Amen.
death just because you're interested. You have to know that I come with responsibilities and
Yeah.
that my kids come first at the end of the day. I have to make sure that they are taken care of and that their best interest is definitely at the forefront when it comes to dating and to make sure that
True.
they're safe. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing, especially in today's world. We have to make sure that we are putting our kids around people who we can truly trust. So you have to be even careful with how soon you introduce people to your kids.
Yes.
You may want to wait a couple of months before you bring
Yes,
somebody over
sir.
to meet your kids. You want to make sure that it's even going to go somewhere before you decide to introduce them because kids they cling on to people very easily and
True.
most kids will like anybody. If they seem like a nice person, most kids are going to like them. So you want to make sure that when you introduce them to your kids, that it's actually going to be a long-term situation and that you're not going to have to rip somebody out of their lives because you two didn't work out.
True. So true.
Yeah,
So true.
tricky. It's possible, but it's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any questions, now is the time to send your questions. Jaycynth, your mother is watching.
Hi, mommy. Veronica Campbell. Hi.
So, so while others get ready with their questions, um, about for 2 weeks, didn't do it last week. We went on a break last week, but for the week
Yeah.
before and the week before, we've been doing some self-discovery questions with my guests,
Yes.
and I have selected 3 questions
Oh, yes.
to ask you guys. The first one is, what are others learning from your mistake? And I must admit, they're very deep, deep questions. So, what are others learning from your mistakes?
Um, they have a saying, a wise man learns from his mistake, but a wiser man learns from another man's mistake. And that's very true. For persons in my life, um, they've been anxious. Oh my God, babies are so cute. Children are so cute. I can't wait. And I'd be like, you sure? You want to say that right now? That's where you want to go? You want to be that person? Do you really want to be that person? Mm, you want to be that person?
You want to
And
be that guy?
you want to be that guy or that girl? Careful. Um, and they've said, Jason, boy, I've seen what you've been through. Especially with the father. We've seen what you've been through as a mother, a single mother, going to work, going to school, having a child, all of that. And they're like, yo, I think it makes much more sense if I just wait this out. I'm gonna pray about it, get married, settle down before I even think of taking on this great responsibility. Right. So I think persons have learned so far from that. I'm not going to call it mistake. From my lesson, someone else has learned that, hey, it's best to wait, sort out yourself first, spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, because if you're not stable, no man.
And it's a funny because many persons would have had experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell them what it is like, and you tell them what the experience is like, and you let them know how ready they need to be.
Yes.
And persons have this attitude like, oh, it will be different for me,
Yes. Yes.
and
You have
and
persons
and
who
not
say that.
really listen to the advice that is given.
You have persons who say that because they're not married, but they're so sure. Oh, my boyfriend, a good man that well wait till the baby come and you see him true colors, yeah. So you have to be really, really careful. And yeah, I think persons so far have learned from my lesson and they have taken my advice.
CC.
Yes, I would definitely say the way that I live my life is, oh, I like to live my life poured out. So when I go through something, I pass the information on, because if I can save somebody from having the same mistakes that I've made, then that's the whole purpose of our testimony. That's the whole purpose of us sharing our mistakes and being able to give people the experiences that we've been through. And I believe that when you are able to give a raw experience and a raw testimony, it shows people the valleys, it shows people the mountaintops, and it shows people that it's not as easy as it looks. Because even though many single moms make it look Very easy. It's not. It's not easy whatsoever. And when you share that side of it, when you share that side of the story, and you let them know, hey, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it at the cost of this. A lot of people will take a second thought of putting themselves in that situation. I have little cousins who are now grown and still don't have kids because they pretty much like, listen, I learned, like, I saw you and my mom raising kids by yourselves. I learned I don't want no kids by myself, and they took the measures to make sure that they don't have kids, and end up as a single mom, or end up a teenage mom.
Yeah.
So you have to just be real with people. You have to be able to tell people the full story, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, even when it's ugly, because most times, most stories have some part of it, may have some ugliness to it, but it's needed, and that's the part that usually helps people. So when things happen to me, when I fall on my face, or when I trip up, or when I find myself making a mistake, I blast myself. I share with everybody because I want to help somebody else before they make that same mistake.
Right.
So, Jodian is asking, how was your mental health back then as a young mommy, as opposed to your mental health now? And we know Jodian probably joined late, so she didn't catch the whole mental health aspect of the discussion. But if you can just give her a brief response to help her.
Want to go ahead, see?
I'll go. As a young single mom, I don't think I've really taken a thought my mental health. Now, I definitely take it into consideration a lot more. I know that, I now understand how important it is. I understand the significance of having a healthy mental health, and to make sure that your mentality is healthy, because whatever's in our mind is definitely going to pour into our children. Whatever you pour into them is what comes out. So if you're depressed around your kids all the time and you're miserable, they're going to end up being miserable. They're going to have miserable ways. So I make sure that I take every single step that I can take to make sure that my mental health is okay. I make sure that I have self-care days. Look, he's talking to a mic, y'all. I have self-care, even if it's just 15 minutes by myself in a closet somewhere or outside. I make sure that I keep myself protected, and that I keep my mental health protected, because they need me. They don't care if bills aren't being paid. They don't care. Can you be quiet, son? They don't care if bills aren't being paid. They don't care if you're tired. They don't care if you got to go to work. Like, they want mom. They want mom, and they want to make sure that that they have the mom that they envision you as, and that they see you are. And you have to make sure that you just take care of yourself. And one of those ways is making sure that you have a village, making sure you have that support system. If you can't find one, there's all types of organizations that will, that have single mom support groups or teenage mom support groups. Find yourself in a healthy environment, to make sure that when you find yourself at a breaking point, or even in a state of depression, where a lot of young teenage moms find themselves, like I did when I was 19. You have to make sure that you are around people that's able to pull you out, and that's able to be your strength in that time. Passing it on.
Okay. Baton received. So for me, I was I was kind of in shambles in regards to, yes, my mental health. I cried a lot. I felt depressed because I was like, what is this I got myself into? I was just a mess. Um, yes, I had the support, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who, was giving birth. And so that was that for the duration of the pregnancy. However, now I'm at a better state, mentally. Mental health days are very important, as she says. Mental health days are very important. What I do, I listen to music a lot. I listen to music a lot. And if it means all genres, yes, I'm a Christian and I'm still a Christian. It does not make me a sinner. Yes, I listen to all genres of music, and it does helped me to release all the madness that's going on in my head. And as she said, your child really not concerned about they're really not concerned about, oh, how mommy gonna find money to provide for us, or how is mommy gonna do this, or how is mommy gonna provide, or whatever. They just want to know that you're there, and you have to be in that mentally strong place to stand in the gap for your child, right? And first of all, I always say this: your spiritual life has to be on peak, right? Because when your spiritual life kind of in shambles, everything else kind of pretty much follows, right?
It's like you can't function.
It's like you can't function. So get that part up first, and you can pray to God. As we said earlier on, sometimes you know the praying is very important, but sometimes you're so frustrated, you not even want to pray. But you can listen to a little music. And my family, as I'm tired to say, hi Abigail, I heard that my daughter is watching. Mwah, love you. Um, you know, my family support very, very, very much there. It's like them change the whole definition of support in the dictionary. And because they have been there, they're fun loving set of people. So they're always making me laugh. My especially my mother and my sister, they're powerful women of God. They have this spirit of discernment, and so when them go down and them just something alright, yeah, all right. And I can, especially mommy, I can talk to her. I would just sit down. I would just talk for hours. Because my mother, she can talk. Mommy, bless you. And she talks, right? She talks to me, and we talk about a lot of things. And I get things off my mind. I know my sister is always praying. Let me tell you, I know my sister is always praying. And my best friend Ania, let me tell you something. She makes me laugh my head off. I'm telling you, my friends, they make me laugh my head off. So sometimes my head is just clear, and any moment I feel like I hardly cry. So I have my one major moment where I just lock myself in my room and I just cry, just for everything coming down the line. I just let it all go, and I just bawl. And when I'm done, I feel good. Everything come off my mind, and I'm just ready, pretty, and able to go on. So yeah, crying helps, praying helps, my family helps, and music helps. And I'm in a better space.
So Chevelle was asking, how old are your children and what are the values that you try to teach them based on your experiences?
Any- mm, mm.
Just start.
I could go. So I have four children. I have a 13-year-old. He, of course, is the one I had when I was 19. I have a 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. They keep me busy. Believe me, keep me all the way busy. Um, the values that I try to teach them, of course, to be God fearing. That's number one above anything. We serve God. We serve a living God, and they know that they have most of them have been born and raised in church, except my oldest son. He's the only one that really wasn't heavy in the church. I really didn't start going back to church and taking my walk seriously with God until my second son. So my three youngest ones, they know how to worship, they know how to pray, they know how, they read their Bibles. My oldest son, he does now, but at first that wasn't something that he knew how to do. So I had to teach him how to do it. Me and him actually we learned together. So me and my oldest son, we have that connection where we pretty much raised each other because I was still a kid. I was 19, but I was really still a kid. I was still immature. I really didn't know anything about life. So we kind of raised each other. He helped me be a better person, and in return, I made him the boy that he is and the young man that he is now. So I teach them, to value human rights, to value people, to treat all people the same, to stick up for your brothers and your sisters. If one get into it, y'all all get into it. That's something my dad used to teach us. Y'all always take care of each other. Y'all always protect each other. Making sure that you put your education first, you making good
Yes.
grades, you are, hi brother, you are doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, to make me proud. Bring me home good grades and I'll give you whatever you want. That's, as long as you're respectable, you respect your elders, you respect the people who are around you. That's what makes you a great person. And that's what makes, that's how I know that I did my job, is when I can look at them and say, you know what, they're respectable, they're educated, they went on to be, good citizens and do what they're supposed to do. And now I can sit back and enjoy the fruit of the harvest that, that God gave me.
Okay, and
Okay.
yeah, for me, my daughter, she's 7 years old. Um, the values I've taught her, or the values that I'm trying to teach her, yeah, first of all, yes, that there is a God. I always pray and ask God to inspire me as her mommy, so that I can, raise her in the right way. So they got her a little Bible. So, try to in the morning. I be remember. Today we're reading St. John so and so. I say, all right, mommy. So that is one important thing. Try and pray. At least when you get up in the morning. Another thing, I can call it that I'm an educator in something, getting there, with the degree. And so I instill in her that, hey, you can't be lazy. Procrastination, even though I procrastinate a lot, I tell her that, hey, don't be lazy. Make sure you do your work. When you go to school, don't talk, focus. Because at the end of the day, the education, separate and apart from salvation, gets you through this world. So make sure you focus.
Yep.
And there's a little song that I used to sing for her. She really don't like it, but I used to sing this song for her. If I believe in me, if I have self-esteem, I can be anything I want to be. Respect me. If I believe in myself, I won't let anyone else turn me away from the right. I will keep my goals in sight, right? And I always tell her as well, there are many other little girls in the world, in Jamaica, in Portmore where we live, but there's nobody like Abigail. And so be the best version of you. And I always tell her, even I think it was day before yesterday, I said to her, Abigail, you're beautiful. Because we don't tell our girls that they're beautiful. And so the first man who tells them that they're beautiful,
Trust me.
we run gone because we feel good, we head swell and we turn clothespin. But it's like, you know, encourage your baby girls, let them know. So that's what I do. Tell her that she's beautiful, tell her that she's loved, tell her that she's special. Yeah.
Amen. So I'm going to take one last question. Anya asking, what would you tell your 19-year-old self?
Bless you, Holy God. Do you know?
Looking back, what would you
Ooh,
tell your 19-year-old self?
I would tell myself, learn to say no. Because I realize I always said yes to the wrong things. I was afraid to say no. I was afraid to stand out. Whenever one nobody laugh after me and say, oh, she idiot. So I always try to fit in, and that never worked. So to my 19-year-old self, I would say, learn to say no. That's one. This might be cliched, but stay focused. As hard as it is, stay focused, because as 19-year-olds, we're easily derailed, right? Because we have so many things going on, and this is like basically like kind of our prime. So we have a lot of things going on. Another thing I'd tell myself, nothing is running away, because some of the things that we indulge in, we say, then that could have stayed. Yeah, true are true. Yeah, they say then that could have kind of stay, right? So I tell myself, don't rush into things. Take your time, get to know yourself, because many times we try to rush ahead and know other people, but we don't know the things that triggers us. We don't know trigger us. We don't know the things that makes us upset or makes us happy. We don't know what makes us us. And so I tell my 19-year-old self, take a time with the creator, learn about yourself, love yourself, consider yourself as beautiful, consider your self-esteem as a young, because I was a young Christian. So I'm for the 19-year-old Christians, I would say, take your Christianity seriously. Don't follow the hype. And I would also say to my 19-year-old self, Jaycynth Arita Campbell, this is a journey, right? You are on a journey, which means things will change, things will go wrong. Even the most important things in your life will change. And so I'd say to my most 19-year-old prime self, be expectant for good and bad. And the steps in the journey, just enjoy them. Good and bad. So those are the things that I, Jaycynth Arita Campbell, would say to my 19-year-old self. And another thing, run the boy. Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
Oh, run the boy. Run the boy. But you know, in
Right.
Jamaican, we say run the boy. Yeah.
Look at boy's face.
Amoy, I'm so sorry. Is the pastor still watching?
I can't manage Jason. So yes, Sierra, what would you tell your 19-year-old self?
I am. I would definitely tell myself to focus on you. I would tell my 19-year-old self to boss up, like take care of you.
Yep.
Get your goals together. Make sure that you get your money together. Worry about you. Be selfish about you, and everything else falls into place. I will also tell my 19-year-old self to heal. I've learned things at the age of 28 that I wish I would have learned at 19 about myself.
Amen.
It's like
Amen.
they've been there. I just didn't deal with them. And I found myself in a cycle going through the same thing over and over again because I didn't want to take the time to actually heal and be made whole. So I would definitely tell myself to heal, figure out who you are. Deal with the mother wounds that you have, the father wounds that you have, make sure that your friends are really your friends, who's really in your corner.
Amen.
Look around and figure out who's really in your corner because there are times where people will hold you back and you won't realize it for years later, like that. And we had history, and all the history was bad. All the history was bad. Yeah, so I would that's those are the main things that I would definitely tell myself is to heal, boss up, worry about you, be selfish about you. Like, I'm sorry, if I was selfish about myself at 19, I would be so much further than what I am now. And now I'm trying to play catch up because
Yeah.
what I could have did then, now I'm trying to do it now. So yeah, be selfish and do you. Everything else falls into place.
Amen.
Amen. So we have two more questions actually. Daniel is asking, what's the biggest lesson your child or children have taught you that maybe caught you off guard? JC, you look like you remember something.
Lord of mercy, what's the biggest lesson your children have taught you that maybe caught you off guard? For me, I think it would be that I would say I had a bad attitude, like bad. And persons would say early attitude, and I'd be like, please, you just can't handle all of this. But guess what happened to me now? See my daughter
Abby,
now.
Abby.
Exactly how I am. That little child is. And I'm like, whoa, no man. So that was what hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, no, just certain little things. If one of the things as well, one thing in particular, I'd say that hit me. I used to have this little thing about me. If I'm getting ready for church, especially, and somebody out of their right mind said to me, move faster now. Best believe I'm going to drag my feet and I'm going to take my time and I'm going to take my time and put on my clothes. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do my time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to just, take it down a notch. And one Sunday, I said to Abigail, why are you taking so long to get ready? And let me tell you, this was her mouth. That was my signature to, the long lip. Them used to say, man, you trick me with your lip. That was her lip. And that child went zero. She went zero. Like she moved so slowly. I was like, why are you so spiteful and disgusting? Like in that moment, I was so annoyed. And you know what my dad said to me?
You're the exact same
Um,
thing.
your daughter do. Yeah, and he used to tell me when I was pregnant that Jaycynth, Abigail will come just like you. And he used to piss me off, Come and say, what you know about me and my daughter? 'Cause when you're in your pregnancy mood, all those juices flowing. But that was, and I had to, pull up my socks and work on that attitude. I'm coming up, saints. I'm coming up. Coming up, man.
And have come a long way.
Come a long way, sister, mighty long way, Lord. Eh?
Sure. Yes, Ciera, what are your lessons? Are your biggest lesson?
Oh, my kids don't have no filter, so like no filter whatsoever. They are like their mom. My daughter, she keeps me on my toes. Like she surely keeps me on my toes when I'm tired and I don't feel like either doing my hair or really getting dressed. Like she like, mom, I don't like that shirt. I don't like that. You should change. You should wear this. Like she keeps me on my toes. And even after I had my son, she matter of fact, 2 days ago, I don't know, I had on a nice little summer dress and I just thought I was so cute. And she said, Mom, it looks like you have a baby in your stomach. I was like, ah! I was like-
You don't tell me that.
I said, it's time for me to go to the gym. It's time to go to the gym. So yeah, my kids, they teach me how to be honest, brutally honest. But they say it so much. They say it out of love. Say hi.
Hi.
They say it out of love, and my kids, they're big lovers. So when I find myself either having like an attitude with somebody, like with one of their aunts or their uncle, their mom, somebody just get on my nerve, and I don't feel like being bothered, my kids would be like, "Oh, we should go over their house. We should see if they're okay. Have you talked to them?" And I'm thinking in my mind, like, no, because I don't feel like it. But they're like, no, we should go visit them. We should go make sure they're okay. And they check me because it reminds me that, I can't hold grudges. I can't,
Yeah.
let things distract me and keep me from being Christ-like when I know that I'm called to a different standard. So they definitely keep me to the standard that I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah.
You got a lot of
So, Jokal is asking, has any of you had the the conversation of you being a teenage mother? Have you had that conversation with your child? And what was it like? Or what you think it would be if you haven't?
Um, for me, I have not yet had that conversation with Abigail, but I think it is going to be a very interesting conversation. She asked
Because she's
a
going to
lot.
drill you with
She's
the
going to
questions.
drill me with questions. She's going to drill me, and so I know because The other day, I had to talk to her about, you know, menstruation.
Mm-hmm.
And she took me for a ride. So I know definitely when I'm going to share this story with her, I'll have to have my dictionary down. I have to have the Bible down. I have to probably have Google beside me too. I'll have to probably have mommy and the two angels and even the Holy Ghost.
Ciera.
I've had the I've had a very basic talk with my 13-year-old, only because he's getting to the age where where of course he's very interested in girls now. So I've had very basic talks where he knows, you know, mommy takes care of everything. Mommy pays the bills, you know. Why you wanna do this to the people? All right, go be great. There you go. Go be great.
So funny.
Um, but he knows that we have to do things a certain way because it's only mom. He knows that he understands that I'm a single mom. He understands that Julie, get your brother, please. He understands that we don't have the same family unit as most people,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, he don't want you. I know. Come on, say hi to the people. Say hi. Yeah. So hold on. Say hi. You gonna keep crying? Come back to me.
And he stops.
I know it's so crazy that he stopped. He's something. He wants to be on the camera. He
That's
wants to
cute.
be in the middle of everything.
Want to
Um,
share the limelight.
yeah, I've had conversations with him in the sense that I just had to let him know you need to be careful. Girls are fun. They're interesting, but we don't want to take it too far because that's kind of how mommy got to where she is now. So I had the honest conversation of, just, it's okay to like girls. It's okay, but I need you to talk to me when you think that things need to go a little bit further because we ain't going to let that happen.
So we're in our final moments. We've been here an hour and 45 minutes. Someone says, I don't know if this was asked, but how important is it? How important was or is support to you as a teenage mother? Yes, Sophia, we asked that question, or it came up in the conversation earlier. So when we end, you can just rewatch the first part of it. But we went into that in detail about the importance of support and how each person was supported by their family. So in this our final moments, I want you guys to just leave some final words or words of encouragement for mothers, teenage mothers who are currently um, having their teenage motherhood experience. Maybe they just found out, maybe they are a few months in, maybe they just had their child. But just give them a word of encouragement to just let them know that there is life beyond the pregnancy, and there are ways to bounce back and still live a full, wholesome and meaningful life. So just 1 minute, 2 minutes, share some words of encouragement for them, and then we can wrap.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, my encouragement would definitely be to to not give up. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what type of situation you found yourself in. Whether it was, planned, whether it wasn't planned, whether you have the help, whether you don't have the help. Whatever you do, don't give up because there's something that God is going to use that moment, and God is also going to let you be a help to someone else, just like we were able to do tonight. God gives you the ability to turn your mistakes into miracles. What brought you down could bring somebody else up. The things that you had to struggle through, other people won't have to struggle through. So see it as a blessing, and instead of asking God why me, ask God why not me, because there's a lot of times where God can only trust certain people with certain things. I know people who, have one kid, and and they're halfway going crazy, and I have four, and I do it all by myself. And I have to remind myself that there's a reason why God gave me as much as he did, because there's more in me that I have to be able to give out to other people. So you have to just be okay with making mistakes, be okay with learning, be okay with asking for help. You can't do everything by yourself. Be honest with yourself,
Yep.
and above all, just make sure that that you're loving on yourself and that you're taking care of yourself, because you can't. It's hard to be a good mom when you yourself aren't in a good headspace. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are always going to support you, push you forward, and encourage you to be the best person that you can possibly be.
Okay, so what I would say, first of all, finding yourself in that position, cry, cry, let it out. Don't behave like you're tough. Don't behave like, you know, you know, yeah. Cry, let it all out. Second thing I'd say, hmm, especially if you don't have anyone around you as, that tight support, just confirm it to yourself that, I love myself and I can make it. Tell yourself that, you know, this might be sound a bit weird, but I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Tell yourself that I am going to be a strong woman, a strong mother for my child. Tell yourself that, hey, it's not a mistake. So we tend to say, oh, this was a mistake. Not a mistake, but a blessing in disguise. Also, never settle. Don't settle. So not because you find yourself in this situation, you're gonna say, well, but see where you can go forward. So if it catch you in a position where you don't even have CXCs, when you find this yourself where you can start, going to some classes, get some subjects under your belt, do it. If you've gotten your CXC subjects, you have your CAPE subjects, and you've applied for the university, go ahead. Never settle, never stop at this, and always believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself. And I just want to say a quick word to the church people out there, from the top to the bottom. Galatians 6 verse 1 say, if you find a brother or sister in the position of sin, approach such a one with the spirit of meekness, just in case you might find yourself in the same temptation and position. Let's be loving and kind to
Or
one
worse.
another, or worse, because worse have been happening, right? So let us be loving, let us be understanding, and baby girl, above all, love yourself and love your child. You'll make it.
Yeah, many have made it.
Many have.
Amen. I think we had a good almost 2 hours. I think it was a good discussion. I
Yep.
pray that this blesses someone,
Yep.
even if they're not on the live right now. I hope that in you guys sharing the video or in me sharing after we've ended, that they will find it helpful and useful in their current situation. So thank
Amen.
you guys. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for
Thank you
being
for having
open
us.
and transparent. Thank you guys for watching and sharing all. I think it got up to 80 at one point. Thank you guys for being here and just spending time here on Friday Night Live. So we'll see you
Amen.
next week. And every week I end the live by saying, let me know some of the issues that you guys want to talk about. And for the life of me, you would never send a suggestion. But we continue to be obedient with this platform. I can tell you honestly that I've wanted to end this like probably 3 weeks ago. And God is just
Let it
like,
flow. Let it flow.
keep going,
Yes.
keep going.
Mhm.
It has a purpose and it has a reason. So
Absolutely.
I continue to be obedient,
Yes, ma'am.
even when I'm pouting.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just hope that it fulfills the purpose that God intends. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, thank
Bye,
you.
Ciera.
Bye-bye.
Well, mine's smelling.